Okay, so get this right. Meta, the Facebook, Instagram, Threads people, they're getting rid of their fact-checking program.
Like, completely.
Yeah, like gone. It's wild. Remember that time when like everyone thought, I don't know, like Tom Hanks had opened a kangaroo farm or something?
Right, right. Those obviously fake things.
Exactly. Catching those might get harder, I think.
It was a huge shift. What's interesting to me is it's not just about the technology, you know? It feels like Meta is making a statement about who's responsible for truth online.
That's a great point. So for this deep dive, we've got a bunch of sources. There's CBS News, Al Jazeera, and then we've got some analysis from a compliance expert. This person, they know all about online safety and regulations, right?
Mm.
What I want to get into is why Meta made this change. Like, what's the new system all about? And then, like, the big question, what does it mean for, like, you and me, regular people scrolling through our feeds?
Yeah, like, are we going to have to become, I don't know, fact-checking ninjas or something just to stay safe online? It's a question everyone's asking, for sure. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with what Zuckerberg himself said about this whole thing.
Oh, right.
He called it a cultural tipping point towards prioritizing speech. So what do you think about that? What does that even mean?
I don't know. It sounds a little bit vague to me. Does that mean, like, facts don't matter anymore?
I don't think he's saying that exactly. There's been this huge pushback against, like, content moderation. And it's coming from both sides, right? Both sides of the political spectrum, I mean.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there's this feeling that people's views are being, like, silenced online. They feel like the internet is becoming too controlled and that platforms like Facebook, they decide what we can and cannot see.
Oh, yeah. You see that all the time in the comment sections, right?
Yeah.
Censorship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe this move by Meta, is it kind of like a response to that pressure?
Right. So they're basically saying, hey, look, we're not going to decide what's true or false anymore. You guys figure it out.
Right. It's like they're washing their hands of the whole thing.
So is this going to be like the Wild West of information?
Well, their new system, it's called Community Notes.
Community Notes. Wait, hold on. That sounds kind of like what Elon Musk is doing over on X, the old Twitter. Is that a good thing, a bad thing?
It's hard to say. So Community Notes, imagine like Wikipedia and Reddit had a baby, and that baby was obsessed with fact-checking, right?
Okay.
So like anyone on the platform can flag something as misleading, and then other users can add context or like supporting information, and there's a voting system. So you can kind of see like which notes are reliable.
So it's like the wisdom of the crowd instead of like professional fact checkers.
Exactly.
But like, are we, the crowd, are we equipped to do this? Is this going to make things like more chaotic and confusing?
Yeah, I mean, that is a concern. Al Jazeera, in their reporting, they point out that even Google searches for the term fact check, they've peaked recently.
Oh, wow.
It's like maybe we're all experiencing fact-checking fatigue.
Oh, that's a scary thought, right? Are we just like giving up on truth altogether?
I wouldn't go that far. But it does raise some big questions about the future of information online.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting timing, too, right? Meta's making this change just before, well, a certain former president might be coming back for round 2, right?
My sources definitely picked up on that.
The CBS and Al Jazeera pieces both mentioned this whole Trump connection, right? Meta donated to his campaign. And like he's been so vocal about big tech being biased, especially against conservative viewpoints.
Right. And this is where the compliance experts' take gets really interesting. They're worried that Meta might be trying to, I don't know, cozy up to Trump.
He's not a fan of fact-checking.
Exactly.
But to be fair, both CBS and Al Jazeera brought this up. There's this whole argument that some fact-checking organizations, well, they have shown bias against certain viewpoints.
Oh, definitely.
So some conservatives say they were being unfairly targeted and silenced.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. We have to acknowledge both sides here. So is getting rid of fact-checking altogether the right answer? Or are we, like, throwing the baby out with the bathwater? I mean, it's complicated, right? There are no easy answers here. But one thing that I'm really worried about is the potential for just like an explosion of scams now that Meta's not doing fact-checking.
Yeah, that's what the compliance expert was really focused on. Like, is it just going to be open season for scammers? Especially with those too good to be true offers.
And think about it. It's not even just about like losing money, right? It's about, it impacts our trust in information, just like in general.
Yeah, if you can't trust what you see on Facebook, I mean, where do you go for like accurate information? It feels like this could make the whole misinformation problem so much worse.
Oh, absolutely. It becomes this whole guessing game, like, who can I believe? And then the more misinformation is out there, the harder it is for all of us to like figure out what's real and what's not, right?
It's like, yeah. The compliance expert was saying that this could lead to people being even more isolated in their own little bubbles online. Like, they only see information that confirms what they already believe.
Yeah, isn't that scary? Like, the internet was supposed to connect us, but what if it actually ends up just driving us further apart?
Sure.
This move by Meta, it could really impact our ability to just have conversations, like meaningful conversations and find common ground.
Yeah, and it's not just politics either, right?
Yeah.
Like, think about health misinformation, financial scams, those crazy conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
Without fact-checking, this stuff could just spread so fast.
Right. The compliance expert said something that really stuck with me. They said that this could really disproportionately impact certain groups of people, right? People who are maybe more likely to fall for scams or who don't have the tools to be critical of what they see online.
Like, you mean older adults, or people who aren't as familiar with technology,
Mm.
or maybe you don't have good internet access.
Exactly. It creates a whole new level of inequality when it comes to who can actually understand, accurate information. So what do we do? It feels like we're all these little tiny boats, right? And we're in this huge ocean of misinformation, and we're just trying to stay afloat.
Oh man, now I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves, or are we all doomed to drown in fake news?
Well, that's where this idea of becoming our own fact checkers comes in, right? We can't depend on Facebook to do it for us anymore, so we have to learn how to be more careful, more discerning about the information that we come across.
Yeah, easier said than done, right? I mean, we're constantly bombarded with information from everywhere. Like, where do you even begin?
Well, the first thing is just to be a little skeptical. Don't just automatically believe everything you see online.
Okay, be skeptical. Got it. But how do we actually do that?
There are a few practical steps you can take. The first one, honestly, is just to slow down. Don't just react, emotionally to headlines and social media posts. Take a breath, read the whole article, and really consider the context. Is there more to the story than just that headline,
I am so guilty of just reading the headline.
We all are. But every time you stop for a second before you hit share, you're actually helping to stop misinformation from spreading.
So slow down, think before you share.
Ah.
Got it. What else?
Another one, and this is simple, but it works. Check the date. It sounds obvious, but sometimes old news gets recirculated and people start freaking out about something that's already been resolved or is totally outdated.
Oh yeah, like that time when everyone thought insert humorous example of outdated news item was happening all over again. That was crazy.
Exactly. Just taking a quick look at the date can save you so much stress. Seriously.
Speaking of stress, it seems like a lot of this misinformation is designed to make us feel strong emotions, like fear or anger.
You're right. They're trying to manipulate us, basically. And those are powerful emotions, right? And they can definitely make us less critical of what we're seeing online. So if something is making you really upset, that's a good sign to just step back and really look into it more carefully.
So if I'm yelling at my phone, that's probably a bad sign.
Pretty much. Look for evidence, not just opinions, Does the source have any data, any research, any credible sources to back up what they're saying? Or is it just a bunch of vague statements and emotional stuff?
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But what if I've, checked the source and looked for evidence and I'm still not sure? What if I just can't tell if it's true or not?
That's okay. It's okay to be uncertain. It actually means you're thinking critically, which is good. If you're not sure, don't feel like you have to share it. You can always do more research or talk to someone you trust, someone who knows more about the topic than you do.
So it's not about being 100% certain all the time.
Right.
It's about being willing to question what we see and hear and gonna find more information when we need to.
Exactly. This change that Meta's making, it means that we all have to be more active and engaged with the information we see online.
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's kind of exciting too. It's like we're all becoming citizen journalists, citizen fact checkers, defenders of the truth.
Right. And it's not just individual responsibility either. We need to talk about this stuff with each other, Share resources and support those organizations that are fighting against misinformation.
Yes. Let's make this a team effort. We're all in this together. And hey, maybe we'll all get a little smarter along the way, a little more discerning, and a lot less likely to fall for those scams.
That's the goal. This whole deep dive has been about giving you the information. But now it's up to you to actually use it. Be skeptical, be curious, and be kind to yourselves and each other out there online.
Great advice.
Wow.
So until next time, happy fact-checking, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, so So how do we actually get better at all this? Like, how do we sharpen those BS detectors? Every time I open my phone, it feels like I'm walking through a minefield of like fake news. Oh, I hear you. It is a lot. But you know what? You're probably already doing some fact checking without realizing it.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Like when you hesitate before sharing something online or like you check Snopes before forwarding an email, you're already using critical thinking.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But let's get specific, right? Like, what are some things our listeners can actually do, like right now, to get better at spotting this stuff?
Okay, well, one of the easiest things is just to slow down. Don't just like react emotionally to headlines, or social media posts. Take a breath, read the whole thing, and really think about like the context. Is there more to the story than just that, catchy headline?
Oh man, those headlines get me every time. Clickbait.
We've all been there. But every time you pause for a second, right, before you share something, you're actually helping to stop that misinformation.
So, slow down, think before you share.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Another tip, and this sounds obvious, but it's important. Check the date. Sometimes old news gets, shared again, and then people freak out about something that's already been dealt with or is totally irrelevant.
Oh, like that time when everyone thought insert humorous example of outdated news item was happening again? It was crazy.
Exactly. Looking at the date can literally save you a ton of anxiety.
Speaking of anxiety, it feels like a lot of this misinformation is like designed to make us feel scared or angry.
You're right. It's all about manipulating our emotions, And when we're feeling strong emotions, we don't always think as clearly. So if you're reading something and you feel your blood pressure rising, take a step back, right? And look into it a little more.
Okay, so basically, if I'm about to throw my phone across the room, that's a red flag.
Yeah, probably. A good thing to look for is evidence, right? Not just opinions. Does the source have actual data, research, credible sources? Or is it just I don't know, a bunch of vague stuff and emotional appeals?
Right, right.
Yeah.
But what if I've checked all that, like the source and evidence and everything, and I'm still not sure? What if I just can't tell?
You know what? It's totally okay to be uncertain. It's actually a sign of a good critical thinker, honestly. If you're not sure, don't share it. You can always do more research, Or ask someone you trust who maybe knows more about the topic.
So it's not about knowing everything for sure, right?
Hmm.
It's about being open to questioning things and actually going to find out more information.
Exactly. And this whole thing with Meta, it's like a wake-up call. We have to be more active, more engaged with the information that we see.
It feels like a lot, but it's also kind of empowering, right? We're not just passively taking in information anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we have to be citizen journalists, citizen fact checkers,
I love that. And it's not just an individual thing either. We need to be talking about this with each other,
Yeah.
right? Sharing resources and supporting those organizations that are fighting this whole misinformation battle.
Yes. It's a team effort for sure. We're all in this together. And hey, maybe we'll all come out of this a little wiser, a little less likely to fall for the scams and the fake news and all that.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So we've given you the information. Now it's up to you to use it. Be skeptical, be curious, and be kind to yourselves and each other out there. It's a wild world online.
Awesome advice. Thanks for that. So until next time, happy fact-checking, everyone.